Good morning, everyone. Hope everybody's doing well. So I'm going to do two videos. I'm going to separate them because they're both about the debate, but they're totally different um, genes and issues. Both of them have one thing in common, though: the idiocy of the left. First one is President Trump made a comment. You know, I didn't even catch it. I guess it just I knew what he was talking about, so I didn't even think twice about it. Was he made a comment about coyotes bringing children across the border? Well, that sparked this outrage on Twitter by the blue checks. What's Trump mean? Just stop talking, blah, blah, blah. The most famous one was this state rep from Georgia, who's also a lawyer. And this woman, let me ask you, Georgia Democrats, explain something to me. You send a guy to Congress that thinks putting Marines on Guam has caused the island to tip over and sink. And then you've got this idiot in your state house who, when her stupidity is pointed out to her, she's still too ignorant to accept it and decides to cut off the conversation because she doesn't want to deal with the haters anymore. There, there's no, in all honesty, you cannot humiliate these people because they have no humility. You can't really even laugh with these people because they've got so much hate in their heart that there's no room for humor and sarcasm and anything else. But the problem is they are so uninformed, but think they are so smart. One guy wrote this lady, like I said, she's a lawyer. You're really, a corporate lawyer? And she writes back, yes, and a dang good one. What's, you know, what's it to you, or something like along them lines. I tell you right now, she's not a very good lawyer. That's pretty obvious. She does not have the brain power to be a good lawyer. And that's very, very obvious to me and pretty much anybody else that does have a little bit of brain power. But, it reminds me when Barack Obama ran in 2008, I was watching YouTube and they were doing like one of these men on the street type deals. Actually reminds me of two things. One was, like I said, 2008, they were doing this. And they were going up to people in some city. And I remember there was this really nicely dressed black guy, three-piece suit, tailored, well-spoken. And they went up to him and they asked, what do you think about Barack Obama picking Sarah Palin to be his running mate? And the guy said, oh, I think it's a great pick. And he just went on and on about what a great pick. What a great pick she was, and she's going to really help the campaign. And he had no idea he was making a complete fool of himself. I mean, he was so confident. He wasn't arrogant, but he was so confident. And he's sitting there on camera making a complete fool of himself. And then the other one is Amari. I can't remember Amari's last name right now, but he did a man on the street, and he went to Berkeley and asked a bunch of white liberals, are voter ID laws racist? And, they were all, yes, voter ID laws are racist. And he asked why. He says, well, blacks They don't have access to DMVs. They don't have access to the internet. They don't know the process of getting an ID. I mean, it was embarrassing. And I'm sitting there, and these people are literally making fools of themselves. So then he flies out to Harlem, and he interviews a bunch of blacks on the street in Harlem, and they're looking at him. He says, "Look, I know this is a stupid, silly question, but I got to ask it." And one couple said, "Is this candy camera or something?" Because the questions were so outrageous. Do you have an ID? Well, yes, I do. Do you know where the DMV is? Yes, I do. It was just hilarious, and we're seeing it now during this election campaign. We are dealing with a combination of ignorance and arrogance that I don't think this country's ever seen before. And the problem is, these blue checks that all were outraged that Trump would say coyotes are bringing, and um, they're thinking, um, real coyotes were bringing dogs, canines. And there was a lot of really good memes. One of the funniest was this Mexican kid with the big hat and sombrero and riding this coyote at full speed. But um, I like one guy's tweet. He says, "You're going to be really surprised when you find out about cat burglars, drug mules, and loan sharks." And they're just ignorant. It would have took 3 seconds to type in coyotes on Google and come back with an answer. But that's the other problem, is they're too lazy. They're a combination of lazy, ignorance, and arrogance. And they are a threat to our way of life and a threat to this country as founded. And I'm not even sure that they're smart enough to, even if we did spiral down the drain like the left wants to take us, I'm not even sure they're smart enough to realize what's happening. And they're all college educated. They all think they're better than us. Anyway, we got to stand our guard on this one, people. Thank you. Y'all have a good day. Bye.